All right, we ready? And grab your bag and go. That's it. Move, move. Go, 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 go. One, Armani suits and run.
Let's do it. All right. Week 4. Welcome. Armani suits and run. 2-3 week. So 5-10 on the season. Went 2-3 in week 1, 1-4 in week 2, 2-3 last week. Just to recap the picks. I was on the Steelers -1.5 against the Chargers. That worked out. Good win there. Kiernan rode the Red Rocket. Andy Dalton, Panthers +5. Great win there. Bowen, 49ers -7. There was a window.
Yep.
There was a window where
Pretty late into the game, unfortunately, too. Pretty late.
but ultimately lost outright. Tough.
Tough.
Um, so we're 2-1 going into the Sunday night slate. You had the Chiefs and the Falcons. Chiefs are 3.5-point favorites. As a collective, we were on the Falcons +3.5. Both Kiernan and Bowen were on that side. I had voted for the Chiefs -3.5. You know, that's one that probably could have gone either way. I mean, that thing came down to it's a 5-point victory, but also taking into account the Falcons were inside the 20, 4th and 1. Decided to run a jet sweep on 4th and 1. Probably not a great play call. And as reflected in the result, wasn't a great play call. I think pretty sure they lost 3 or 4 yards on it. Turn the ball over. No timeouts. Chiefs run the clock out, but they convert that, and who knows? Could have won the game outright. So, I think very much like week 1 in particular. That was one where it just felt like that could have gone either way. Good game, good line. We just, weren't on the winning side. And then we go to Monday night. Myself and Kiernan were on the Jags +5.5. Look, I know it came down to my vote, but I don't know that we can actually give Bowen a win on this.
No, I don't want it.
Because in reality, it felt like you abstained, courteously.
Yeah, we spun the wheel, right?
So I think, Kiernan, you went first. You were on the Jags. And then I think it landed on Bowen. And the response was, I want to hear what Tristan has to say.
Yeah.
And for that reason, he went with the Bills, but it didn't feel like a pick that was given with conviction. He didn't say it with his chest.
No, the intentions were clear.
It was very much a vote of he abstained. So I think for the record books, it's going to be a push or just a non-vote. So that'll be reflected in the year-end results, and it'll be interesting to see when it comes down to deciding, who's going to go and sign us up for next year. Who's going to make that? Does that vote, that abstain vote, is that the difference? Could that be? So
in my head, in my head,
I eat at you for a little bit.
Hey, man, it's okay.
So I mean, look, I think obviously a little bit better this week in terms of the 1-to-1 picks. We got wins out of myself and Kiernan. That's Kiernan's 3rd in a row. He's 3-0 on his individual picks. So he's been on fire on that front. I picked up my first one. Bowen's 0-3. Need to be better. That's
Yep.
okay. Plenty of season left. But didn't get the cover on Sunday. Obviously, didn't get the cover on Monday. That was brutal. That was brutal to watch. But move on. 5-10. It's a new week. We go 5-0. We're 500. So, any thoughts on the week? Any thoughts on week 3, season to start before we get into the week 4 picks?
Not
Really?
really much. I mean,
Yeah.
I just want to keep it going. I try not to get too high, too low because I mean, I'm 3-0 right now. I could easily be 3-3 in 3 weeks. So, that's just how it goes. And same thing for Bowen, right? I mean, we're gonna all lose or win 3 games at some point in the season. So, it just happened to come in a streak for both of us. But you never really know how it goes. But yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, I think even all my picks, I've been seeing the board pretty well for the first couple weeks, so has definitely felt good on that front. I do wonder if there's any sort of correlation because I've stopped betting spreads, like in general. I just do the player props, do the touchdowns and stuff. I do wonder if stepping back from that has allowed me to maybe see the board a little more clear now that I'm not trying to, fill a card or anything. But yeah, I just want to look and keep it going. I mean, it's only 3-0. There's a lot of weeks left, but just you do start to reach that point where it's like, what if I just got every single pick right for the whole season? So I'd like to try and keep this going for as long as I can.
Well, something you should consider is, bet bet whatever your pick is this week. And then
I don't change up anything. I'll stick with my props and my touchdowns. So I
No.
don't change my strategy.
just hear me out. Just hear me out. Because you just said, what if I get every pick right? Well, what if you bet with it? What if you pressed every time you won?
That's how you lose. I'll stick to my strategy.
I'm just saying.
I'll stick to my system. I'll stick to my strategy.
I
I don't bet spreads. I start betting spreads. All of a sudden, that messes up the mojo. There's no need to chase it. This is a competition where we can make a
That's
bunch
like-
of money. So me
that's
getting
like
as
the
many
key-
picks right.
That's like the Keith midday show hitting on the TD prop and Keith not betting on it.
That's crazy.
I didn't bet spreads week 1. I made
No, I know. I'm
5
just
units that day. That's what I'm saying though. Is like why switch what's working? I'm currently if I were to hit every pick, that means that in a competition where I could potentially win a share of $1 million, I went 18-0. So this is where my money's hopefully being made by hitting those picks. But yeah, I like to stick to my system, stick to my strategy.
That's fine. That's fine. All right. Let's get into week 4. Kieran, are you unveiling a new wheel?
Yeah, it's just a new website. It's not like anything. Did I pick the wrong thing? Can you guys see it? You guys can see it?
Oh yeah.
All right.
A bit more of a dramatic setup, but okay.
Well, I just said it's just a different website. I didn't say there's anything special.
I thought it'd be bigger. I thought it'd be bigger than that. I thought you wanted to talk.
No, I mean, I think that when I said no, it's just a different website. I feel like that set the tone for it not being much of a change. So
Yeah. All right. Let's do it. It's a new website. Wheelofnames.com. Shout out.
all right, Bowen.
Let's go.
All right. I don't think I've gotten the first on the wheel like in our individual picks in a while. I don't have the stats to back it up, but I feel like I haven't landed first in a while. So
I don't think we've been tracking that, so I'm not sure.
No, yeah. Mental tracking is not for a while. So it's a pick that I feel really, really confident in. I feel like it's a little square, but I am a square, so gonna go with it. Jets 7.5. Playing the Broncos at home. Off a mini bye week. Last time they played was Thursday against the Pats. Looked like they found some form, kind of their identity on offense. And I watched the entire game, unfortunately, as a Pats fan, and they just beat the shit out of the Pats, who I was pretty high on going into that game, because they've shown strong to start the season. The Broncos coming off a big win against the Bucs, unexpected win against the Bucs. I think could come out a little flat against a well-rested, veteran-led team. Bo Nix is really, really bad against the against pressure. He only has a 38% completion percentage against pressure, and the Jets are number 2 in the league in pressure rate. I think they potentially could eat up Bo Nix really, really quick with that defense. Quinn Williams getting home, Sauce Gardner in the secondary, DJ Reed in the secondary. I just see this game being 2 touchdowns. The 7.5 doesn't really scare me. I think the hook is there to scare me, and I'm just not scared by it. I think they win pretty comfortably, and they kind of just keep it rolling off the big win 10 days ago.
Right. Karen, any thoughts on the pick?
No, I like it. I mean, they played last year and the Jets beat them. I only like literally the only thing that I think the Broncos have going for them is Sean Payton, and you can say what you want about him as a coach, as a person, anything like that, but he is like a good veteran coach. He's obviously won a lot in this league, and I do think he knows how to overachieve with some of these teams. So that's like the only thing going against them. But I mean, I like the angle for the Jets here. I mean, they're at home, coming off their big home opening win. I will say, the Patriots, I felt like that was a make or break game. I was kind of going in indifferent on how I felt about them, and because I figured like it was going to be a game where they showed us what they are this season, and if they were able to win that game or maybe even just keep it close, then maybe they'd be a frisky team for the whole year. But I do feel like that was them kind of signaling to us like, yeah, we are only going to win 3 or 4 games. So unfortunately, that's just how it goes. But I do think that the Jets are buzzing a little bit off that win, and I mean, last year, they really wanted to win. They saw it as a revenge game for Nathaniel Hackett. Now Rodgers gets to play, and he loves Nathaniel Hackett. So I do think that there was a little bit of a chip on his shoulder for him there. So I think that they're going to go in, and then they're going to want to beat the shit out of this team. So yeah, I do like it over a touchdown like that.
I actually didn't think of that wrinkle, the Hackett and I mean Sean Payton took a massive dump on Nathaniel Hackett like a year and a half ago when he got hired.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
So
his old team. The new coach was shitting on him last
yeah,
year. And I
those
mean, last year,
words
I
those
don't know,
words
I don't
still
know what the
matter.
score was. I don't have that written down, but I mean, they did go in and beat them, and it was like they traded it like a Super Bowl win. So now they have Rodgers back, and Hackett is Rodgers' guy. That's why he's in New York to begin with. So yeah, I mean, I do think that they're going to go in with a chip on their shoulder there and want to stick it to him for a second straight season. But yeah, and then to it all, the same stuff that you were saying, where they have a good pressure rate. Bo Nix is a rookie quarterback. Rookies typically struggle against that, and statistically he is. So, yeah, I mean, I like the play a lot.
Yeah, I liked it too. I had Jets on my card as well. Um, I think part of it too that Broncos kind of got that. I guess it shouldn't be shocking, just given how underdogs of 6.5 and over have performed this season, especially winning outright. But bit of a shocking win over Tampa. I
Big
think
time.
easy to overreact. But I also think, this Jets team is one that just like week to week continues to seem like they get better and better. Obviously there's, with Rodgers, like, it's his second year there, but he didn't play last season. And I think they continue to get more comfortable. They continue, like he continues to get more comfortable. And I think as a team, they continue to become more complete. Just think, we're talking about a really good team that's much better than the other team. They're at home. Got a Broncos team that's coming off this big win over Tampa Bay. Feels like a nice letdown spot too. So I like the Jets. I like the Jets with the points. I support the pick.
All right, back to the wheel.
Back to it.
Tristan.
All right. I'm gonna go Falcons -2.5 over the Saints. I think the Saints are dealing with way too many injuries. Looks like Olave's out now with a new hamstring that popped up. Davis is out. You got 2 injuries on the offensive line with McCoy and Ruiz. Kamara's banged up. It sounds like he practiced today, but he's dealing with a couple different injuries. So you kind of wonder how healthy he's going to be going in. How much are the other injuries maybe driving him to try and push through it and play? Because they know they're going to be down Olave.
Mhm.
Taysom Hill was out last week. He's back. He didn't have an injury designation, but he was out last week. So he's coming back from an injury. I just kind of feel like this to me is a team that's like they're really banged up, and like it's they're banged up at some important places. And I feel like Atlanta continues to show signs of a team that's going to be a force to be reckoned with. I mean, obviously they didn't cover last week. We were on the Atlanta side, but they were in it. They were right there. We're maybe a 4th-and-1 conversion away from covering in that game. And I think similar to the Jets, similar to Rodgers, obviously Cousins coming back from the exact same injury. They just continue to seem to get better and better week over week. I think they're healthy. They're healthier coming in at home against a team that's really banged up. Just had a really tough loss against the Eagles. They were coming into that game 2-0, kind of flying high. Go against an Eagles team that's, they were banged up themselves, got handled. Now they're 2-1, and they're even more fucked up than they were last week. So I like the Falcons with a number that's inside of 3. I think they can cover the 2.5. That's the pick.
I like it. I mean, that was one of my picks that made my top 3. So, I mean, it was kind of the exact same reasons. I actually do like the way that the Falcons are trending right now. I didn't really touch on it too much in the intro, but despite losing that pick, I do think that we were on we had the right read there. I do think that the Falcons should have
They
won that
played a
game
better
outright.
game. They
Yeah,
definitely
it just came down to the end of the game and they just couldn't pull it off. And,
Yep.
whatever. It is what it is. But I do think that we had the right read there. I felt most of the night, I felt like we were sitting in that pole position to cover. So, it is what it is. They were playing the Chiefs. That's just how it goes. Debatable non-pass interference call for Kyle Pitts there, but whatever.
Yep.
I like the way that they're playing. I do feel like this is like a prime letdown spot for Derek Carr teams as well. This is where they start to slip up a little bit. I mean, the guy was getting MVP hype in week 2. So, I mean, it's only natural that he starts to have a little bit of a downfall. So I think it started last week. It spills over into this week, especially with those injuries. So, yeah, I mean, I like the Falcons here a lot. I think that they needed to come out and start to kind of separate themselves from the rest of that division and, maybe approach some of that preseason hype that they were getting.
Yep. I like the pick. They were right on the cusp of my top 3. Definitely a game I looked over pretty good. Like the spot for the Falcons. I think we saw it last week. I think you already had touched on it a bit, but that Saints offense definitely came back down to earth a little bit. Struggled to move the ball, and didn't put many points up on the board. Especially with the injuries on the offensive line, that was their biggest strength the first 2 weeks of the season. They were getting some crazy buzz around the league, being, all 5 guys were super strong and highly rated in like PFF and all that. And losing those 2 guys pretty much immediately after the hype just kind of feels like they're gonna really slow down. I think the Olave, rule of thumb is like if you tweak your hamstring on Friday, you're probably not playing Sunday. I don't know if it's official, but that feels like a pretty safe bet. And he's a really big part of their offense and what they want to do. So he opens up a lot for like the Rashid Shaheed of the world, and really a lot of what goes on that offense because of how we can stretch the field and kind of work the middle of that field as well. So I think he's a huge loss on a week that you expect to have him. And 2.5 is a really, really gettable number for the Falcons.
All right. Love it. Back to the wheel.
All right, here we go.
All right.
All right, Benny.
All right. I do just want to bring my girl into the shot real quick. I do have my lovely Stella Luna here to make the pick with me.
Yes.
I'm sitting on my lap for the whole shot. This pick, so this is my number 1 pick. This is actually my survivor pick as well. I was actually early in the week, I was on the other side of this, and then I kind of sat on it a little bit more because I saw, a team that just came off of a disappointing loss. They're going back home. They're playing against a team that I don't think has been playing too well this year. I felt like, and they were home dogs. So I felt like that was like a perfect spot to bet. But then the more I was sitting on it, and then I realized that there is a hurricane going through the Florida Gulf Coast and up the coast and everything. I actually switched my pick over. I'm taking the Eagles -1.5. There was the hurricane week in Tampa. I don't know how much they've been practicing. I'm sure they do have an indoor facility, but I can only imagine that they've been, even though they're unbelievably rich, they've probably been a little uncomfortable this week with the weather. Um, I was thinking back, I remember, and I think I actually took the Bucs in that game. It was Brady's last year. They were playing the Panthers in the last week of the season, or maybe it wasn't the last week, but it was towards the end of the season, and all of a sudden I turned the game on. It was like a 4 o'clock, 4:25 start, and the weather was absolute dog shit up. And right away, it's the Bucs and Brady. They were going run heavy. Sam Darnold was able to pass it up and down. I looked up the score. The Bucs only won 30-24. I can imagine that they were bigger favorites than 6 points against Sam Darnold in the Panthers a couple years ago. And that kind of just stuck with me. But I feel like the Eagles have been a mess. And despite Devontae Smith being out with a concussion, AJ Brown being questionable with that hamstring injury, and it sounds like he's pretty doubtful to play. The line has been, that's been baked in, and the line has stayed firm at -1.5. They're road favorites here. And typically I like to go with the home dog. That's usually the way that I go. But if this is going to be a slop game, which I think it will be, especially with the weather, everything that's going through, there's chance of thunderstorms that afternoon, everything like that. So I actually think that the Eagles are better built to win that type of game. The Bucs run game, it's not great right now. I mean, Bucky Irving, he's been a little bit of, a little glimmer of hope for them, but he's much more of a elusive speed back. He's coming from Oregon. He's not built to play in those types of conditions. If they got to do straight ground and pound, they got to go to Rashad White, and he hasn't really been too efficient. And I feel like a guy like him, that's more of an O-line issue. I mean, he's not like a huge creator, so he's taking what's given to him. And if he's not getting anything there, that tells me that the O-line's probably not blocking too great for the run game. But I feel like the Eagles are built for that. Even if they don't have Devontae Smith, if they don't have AJ Brown, they can just they can just abuse the run game with Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, and they don't have to win by a lot. They got to win by less than a field goal. So, I'm basically taking them to win outright, but I like the Eagles here. I feel like, it seemed a little trappy to me at the beginning of the week, but when I started to process through those things, I really like the Eagles in this spot.
Yeah, I like the pick. The Bucs, I think Vita Vea practiced the past few days, but he's banged up, and he's a big
Antoine Winfield's out, and then there's another guy on their defense.
Kalijah Kancey's also out.
Yeah, that was him.
Started for them. I think with the Bucs, they're going to be an in and out team every week. Just kind of with how they're built. I don't think it's the Eagles are a good matchup. The Bucs have been getting ripped up on the ground to start the season. One of the worst teams in the league against the run. Obviously the Eagles, with that offensive line and with Saquon, Jalen Hurts, I mean they'll force feed those guys. If it's working and won't stop. I think they probably control the clock. Puts a lot of pressure on Baker and that offense to sustain drives, get first downs if they don't have the ball much, and the Eagles are eating up the clock in time of possession. So, like you said, Kieran, I don't think it's going to take, or potentially, I don't think it could take too many points to cover the spread, given it's only 1.5. So, think it might be a slop fest, like you said, and definitely lean towards the run heavy team in conditions like that. And Jalen Carter is a fucking scary person. What he did last week was scary.
He stepped up last week.
Dude, I saw some of his tape from last week. I didn't watch it live. That was scary. He's a terrifying human being. Like game.
He also killed somebody, didn't he?
Allegedly, potentially.
He was racing with a friend, and the friend crashed and died. But he didn't like shoot and kill somebody. No.
Well, Brian Kelly put somebody up on a scissor lift.
Exactly. It's a little different.
Wait, what?
You surely heard that story at Notre Dame. He had a kid go up.
What, bro?
When Brian Kelly was at Notre Dame, in the middle of a practice in which they had like hurricane force winds, he had basically the team videographer up on a scissor lift, like,
Jesus.
Like 50 feet up or whatever. And the winds got so powerful that it knocked the scissor lift over and the kid died.
I might even be in an I actually had never heard that story before. Maybe I have in a past life.
So not that it's a joke, but like the running bit is that Brian Kelly killed a kid because it was his decision to have that kid up in the scissor lift during conditions in which they were definitely not suitable to have somebody up there.
Did he not carry any liability there, being like the person in charge? Did he not?
I'm sure if anything, the university probably paid off the family because they have the money to do it, and
Yeah. Wow.
yeah.
How
So,
long ago was that?
that was probably like 6, 7 years ago.
Ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, back to the pick. Yeah, I think look, you know, Kiernan dropped his nutsack last week with the Vikings pick against the Texans in the Survivor thing. And
I gotta before you keep going, I do have to push back on that. They were like 1.5-point underdogs.
no, but I think that's in the context of a Survivor league when and like when you're talking like, and again, I know all those teams lost, but I think the confidence in week 3 of a Survivor league to take a 1.5-point underdog when you can take a 6.5-point favorite, a 7.5-point favorite, a 5.5-point favorite, to take that contrarian point of view and take a 1.5-point underdog when the majority of the field is taking favorites of 5 plus, more. Now, again, it worked out, right? But I think that was a very bold pick. It worked out, but it's a bold pick.
I guess, but I mean, my whole thing with Survivor is that every year you ask anybody, oh, what'd you get knocked out on? Oh, I took this touchdown favorite to win and they got upset. That's how
Sure,
everybody gets knocked out in
can't,
Survivor.
but you can't predict that, which is why they get knocked out. Like there are also weeks where like favorites win, right? Like it and
Yeah,
favorites
but I mean, it's just like
get to
to
the
me, it's one of those where it's like what, especially in the first 4 weeks, there's 16 winners a week. So it's like, if most people are already going to be taking those
yeah.
massive favorites, and
Here's
every week, right? It's oh my God,
here's
25% of the pool, they picked the obvious team and they lost.
here's the thing where I think you need to just like stop pushing back. I'm trying to give you credit for taking a bold pick.
Yeah, but I'm
And
also just trying to make more of a statement because
like
I will say
just take the
no,
credit.
but let me say because
So
this actually is something for the
don't have
team.
to push
No, let
back.
me say something for the team. Let me just say something for the team, all right? Because I will say, right, we talked about when I took the Panthers last week, they were what? 4.5-point dogs, something like that. Like it wasn't even a touchdown. And like the reaction was like, oh, like I don't have the balls to do that, anything like that. And I feel like it's a gambling thing in general. I'm not, just saying like, oh, these are traits that you guys carry, but it's like most people in general, right? Like, oh, I need to bail myself out on Sunday night. What do I got to take? I have to take the favorite. I have to take this, and this, these massive things. I mean, I think historically, right, underdogs typically win more times than the favorites, or they cover more times than the favorites do. I mean, it's, basically a coin flip, but I think typically it's in favor of the underdog, in favor of the under, because lines are typically juiced, knowing that people are going to chase those favorites, chase those overs, everything like that. But I mean, it really is a coin flip. But, especially when we're talking about spreads, we're talking about something that there's basically a 50-50 chance, right? I mean, a lot of times everybody says, oh, Vegas knew because the margin of victory finished right on the spread. But I mean, think about how many times. Look at that, right? I took the Vikings last week. They were 1.5-point dogs, and they covered by how much. Nobody ever pays attention to those times where Vegas wasn't close at all when it came to the spread. And I'm just saying, when the reaction to taking an underdog spread is like, oh, I don't have the balls to do it. I just don't understand that mindset because I mean, it's literally just as probable as taking the favorite.
Try to give you credit, and you went off.
I mean, I'm just trying to talk as like
it's the guy that he's built for radio.
We're on a team trying to win money. I just wanted to make a general statement on gambling and strategy and stuff like that. And I mean, it's not even like oh, I'm like 3-0 stuff like that. It's more just that reaction. I just most people typically have that, and I just don't really understand that. Like I said, I mean, an underdog covering is just as likely, if not slightly more, than a favorite covering. I don't think that taking an underdog spread, especially, is any more risky than taking the favorite.
The last time I'll ever compliment you on a pick. Let's go to
I'm
the.
I'm just
Let's
trying to
go
have a
to.
serious conversation. My bad for trying to make a serious point.
Let's go to
I'll
the.
stop trying to do that. That's my bad.
Let's go. Let's go to the Sunday night conference.
Yeah,
Let's go.
my fault. I'll just spin the wheel. I won't.
Oh,
Good Lord.
No, I mean, I just made like a whole like a 2-3 minute statement about like general strategy, and that's how it's graded. But whatever.
Yeah, I was trying to compliment you on taking what I thought.
And I
was
accept the compliment, but I just wanted
You didn't.
to go off of that.
You
I mean,
didn't. You
okay,
went on a 3-minute rant.
yeah, and I get no reaction. That's fine. Whatever.
is this the Monday nights?
Oh, I guess we're gonna do Sunday night, but that was the Monday night wheel. I had skipped over the line.
Is that a valid wheel spin? Is it Miami?
We can respin it if we want. We could
I
just
think we
say
should probably respin it. Not even that I
Yeah.
have a.
no. We'll wait. We'll just go back to the wheel, the
Yeah, it
name
feels,
wheel.
it feels weird going out of order.
All right, Tristan, lead it off.
All right. Wait, we're doing. I'm confused now. So
We're doing Sunday night.
All right, we're on the Sunday night game.
Those Ravens.
Okay. I'm going Ravens. I look at that line and I think it's it just seems a little fugazi to me. Bills 3-0 coming off a huge win against the Jags. Obviously the Ravens got the win against the Cowboys, but I think the Cowboys generally have looked unimpressive. Ravens are only 1-2. I'm just gonna kind of fade the Bills here. I think Ravens being 2.5-point favorites against a Bills team that's 3-0. To me, it smells like a little bit of a rat line. So I'm gonna take the Ravens at home on Sunday night. I think Lamar, I think is gonna outduel Josh Allen. Also need him to give Josh Allen a loss. So my other MVP futures picks can look better. So I'm going Ravens -2.5.
All right. We wheeling?
No. No, because now I messed up after last week. We don't typically, we just say whatever we want now, or do we?
It's up to us. I mean, it's up to us.
go to-
Because why did we wheel last week? What was the
Just
I
for
don't know.
vibes. For the vibes.
Go to the wheel.
all right.
Let's go to the
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Ravens as well. Bills. Bills have only played. I mean, they played the Jags, the Dolphins, and the Cardinals on opening day. I don't think they've seen an offense quite like the Ravens. Really, really even at all. I think they're probably gonna come back down to earth a little bit on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, the offense for the Bills has looked pretty spectacular as of late. Definitely a good team, but I do think that defense is a bit overhyped at the moment, and I think the Ravens win outright. Good primetime game, excited for it, and I think the Ravens have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder with how they kind of started. How they started the season. I think they're going to come out hot and kind of jump on the Bills there.
Yeah, not that it matters, but I was also on the Ravens. Josh Allen hasn't thrown an interception this year, so I just feel like the Bills are coming in scorching hot. I think that everybody, especially the public, they're going to be looking to ride them, and it just feels like a classic kind of letdown, meltdown spot for Josh Allen, where I'm sure he'll still put up crazy numbers, but he could throw 2 or 3 interceptions and just kind of have a little regression in that sense. But Baltimore, they blew a pretty massive lead against Dallas last week, and they still walked away with the win, but they did seem pretty unhappy. I think Lamar Jackson maybe was going at Marlon Humphrey or something, but I think that they want to come out and they want to play with a little more aggression and try and they're back at home and try and get a big win here. So yeah, I just feel like with how hot the Bills are coming in and the Ravens have been sort of so. It just feels like a classic spot to take the Ravens at home here.
The Bills also had like maybe like the perfect game last week against the Jags. Like it was like a absolute no doubter from the start. They had the DeMar Hamlin moment, the big interception for him, and everything was all hunky dory, like real positive and stuff. So I just feel like they're gonna come back down to earth a little bit against the stout Ravens team. So I think this is one of the first picks primetime games this year that we've all three of us have agreed on.
Yeah, I think
Not
so.
having to go to like that third pick.
I can't confirm. I'm looking at the chart right now.
Yeah.
All green.
Besides my blemish, the push that wasn't the win that was a push that
all
It was
green.
it was a moment of weakness for you. That's what
it's
it was.
okay. Look,
Yeah.
it's okay. It's okay. It happens.
All right, Monday night.
So we got Seattle, Detroit, Tennessee, Miami. Tennessee, Miami starts earlier. That's the earlier game.
Ooh,
Oh,
All
I like
right.
this wheel. Very, very dramatic. I like it.
this will be our second Detroit primetime game. All right, now to the other wheel.
Excuse me.
Nice out. Wait, this doesn't have me on it.
Oh, because you already won. We always take the name off.
Oh, because I went
I got you. I got you.
on the Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah, we
Oh,
always
okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm on the Seahawks plus 3.5 here. I think Frank Ragnow will be a massive miss for the run game. I mean, we saw what just the Eagles losing Jason Kelsey as the center has done, and Frank Ragnow is one of the best centers in the league, and he's tough as nails too. I mean, he had like a broken throat like 2 years ago, and he played through it. So he's a beast. So if he's out or they have to put him down like Dan Campbell said, he must be pretty hurt, but that's going to be a big loss for them. Mike McDonald, they've been playing well, right? So I mean the Seattle defense really hasn't been tested yet this year. I forget who they played in week 1, but they played the Patriots. I don't even remember who they played. Oh, they played Miami last
I think they
week.
played the Broncos week 1.
Yeah, so they played the Broncos week 1, the Patriots week 2, and then Skylar Thompson and Tim Boyle last week. So they really haven't been tested too much. So it wouldn't shock me, especially with Ragnow missing, if that might hurt the run game a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if Detroit looks to air it out and sort of test a secondary that hasn't really been tested. But Mike McDonald, he was the Baltimore DC last year. They held Detroit to 6 points. When they played last year, Baltimore won 38-6. I like Seattle's offensive matchup here as well. I think that with the 3 receivers, Tyler Lockett, when he's been healthy in 2 of the 3 games this year, he's delivered. And JSN, obviously, when Lockett wasn't healthy, he had that massive game. And DK's had at least 2 huge games in a row. I forget how he played against the Broncos, but I like how they match up. I mean, Detroit's secondary has kind of held it down a little bit this year, but they were pretty terrible last year. I think that they can look to air it out here, and Zach Charbonnet has been playing really well as the running back in Kenneth Walker's absence. So I like how they match up. I like this defensive matchup for them, even though they haven't really been tested yet. So I do feel like there's a little bit of risk there, but based on how Mike McDonald and his defense performed against the same team last year, I do think that they can, really hold them down. So I like the 3.5 points here.
We're going to the wheel.
Oh shit! Hold on, let me. Oh, now I gotta reload the. This is the problem. Now I gotta reload the wheel because.
A little off topic about the other game. Has Miami said who their starter is yet?
No, I don't think they have.
That's not confirmed.
Still not confirmed.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Will it matter?
I don't know.
Right.
That's gonna be a weird one. Tennessee's a hard team to get a read on. All right. I like the Lions. 3.5.
Of course, love the Lions.
See, I do. I do. I do think everything, Kieran, that you've said is valid. McDonald might have a few tricks up his sleeve with defensive game plan. Um, but the Lions also have Ben Johnson, who I really love. Very innovative. I think he'll always adapt. He has that film from last year as well of what Mike McDonald did to him, and I think that he'll make a few adjustments as well. Going into this week especially. Uh, Laporta seems like he's going to be a go. I think it was actually confirmed today. I think he practiced in full for the Lions, which is a huge guy to obviously have on the field. He was the best tight end in football last year. Um, I think that offense rolls accordingly against the Seahawks defense, who's is really good. They have a lot of talented players, but I just think when push comes to shove, the Lions will be able to push enough points across the board. The Lions are a top run defense in the league currently to start the season. Ken Walker may be back from injury. He's been practicing. I think in limited capacity, but trending towards him playing. But I don't know if he's going to have many opportunities to make a difference in the game. Um, Gino does sling the ball around. DK is a beast. JSN is coming on. Lockett is a pro, but I do think 3.5 is not big enough number. Lions by a touchdown.
I'm on the Seahawks. I Ragnow injury concerns me. Um, basically echo all the points that Kieran made. In terms of Seattle's head coach, defense. Love the way that Gino's been slinging it. Hear your point on Lions' run defense being stout, but that's not exactly where the Seahawks offense has been making their bread. They've been lighting it up through the air. I love the way Gino looks. I love the way that wide receiver core looks. And I think the fact too that like we're getting the hook. I love the fact. I love the fact that we're on that side of the line, getting 3.5. I think it's going to be a great competitive game. And I think Seattle's catching them on a good week, and love the fact that we're getting 3.5 there. I see it being a one-score game. I see it being a 3-point game, and I think having that hook puts us in a good position. I'm on the Seahawks.
All right.
All due respect.
All good. All good, brother.
All right. So recapping the picks. We got the Jets -7.5. That's Bowen's pick. Falcons -2.5. We got the Eagles -1.5. The Ravens -2.5 on Sunday night. And then we are betting the Seahawks Lions game on Monday night. We're taking the Seahawks +3.5. Those are the picks. It's a 5-0 week. Let's get it done.
Now, what's our total record right now?
5-10.
Ooh.
So we're 5-10 individual picks. So Kieran's 3-0 on the single picks. I'm 1-2. Bowen's 0-3. But we're also counting our Sunday night and our Monday night picks,
Mhm.
even if we're the odd man out. So overall, including Sunday and Monday night football, Kieran's 5-4. I'm 4-5. Bowen's 2-7. Those are the records.
I think for the contest though, right? We said it's just your individual pick, and then
Yeah,
the
that makes sense.
primetime record is the tiebreaker. So if
So
the
I'll track. I
it's
can track both.
yeah.
So I'm just gonna update the spreadsheet right now, just to reflect that. All right, so I'm 1-2. Karen's 3-0. And Bowen's 0-3. Okay. Okay. All right.
Perfect.
Noted. That's how we'll track it.
Oh, look at that. I don't have Stella here anymore. They can't meet.
Damn.
What happened?
Millie's on the or she was on the camera.
Oh. All right. Let's go
Word.
get 5-0. Picks are in. Just submitted them.
Cool.
All right, cool.
Do it.
Sounds good.
Kieran, are you? So you'll email JJ with the survivor pick?
Yeah, I already did.
Okay, cool, awesome. All right, let's get it.
Yes, sir.
All right, see you.
I'll
Peace,
see you
fellas.
guys.